What if I told you the key to a more meaningful life wasn't about doing more, but actually doing less? A whole lot less. What if the secret to being happier, maybe even less depressed, was hiding in the one thing we all try so hard to avoid? Okay, so let's get into it because today we're making the case that you really truly need to be bored. Now, that's a pretty bold claim from Harvard's Arthur Brooks, but he argues that our modern day war against boredom is a massive mistake. He says that by trying to fill every single empty moment, we're actually robbing ourselves of meaning and making our own anxiety worse. I know, it sounds totally backward, but the science behind this is absolutely fascinating. So, just how much do we hate being bored? Well, a study by Harvard psychologist Dan Gilbert put this to the ultimate test. Picture this. He put people in a room all by themselves for just 15 minutes with nothing to do. And they had a simple, but kind of crazy choice. Just sit there with your own thoughts, or press a button and give yourself a painful electric shock. And the result was, well, shocking. A big majority of people chose the electric shock. That's right, they would rather feel actual physical pain than sit quietly for 15 minutes. It just shows this deep, almost primal fear we have of being alone inside our own heads. So what the heck is going on? It turns out this feeling isn't just a personal quirk, it's deeply wired into our neuroscience. There's a specific network in our brain that kicks into gear whenever we're idle, and understanding it is the key to this whole thing. It's called the default mode network, or DMN for short. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but you can just think of it as your brain's daydreaming mode. It's the system that flips on the second you stop focusing on something specific, like when you're waiting at a red light or just kind of staring out the window. So, here's the crucial point. Why is this daydreaming mode so uncomfortable we'd rather shock ourselves? Well, because when the DMN switches on, it doesn't just wander. It starts asking the really big, sometimes uncomfortable questions. What's my purpose? Am I on the right path? It forces us to think about meaning. And those are the very things we spend our busy lives trying to ignore. And this is where our modern world has created a huge problem. We have invented the perfect tool to shut this natural brain function down, trapping us in what Arthur Brooks calls a modern doom loop. It all starts with a feeling you definitely know, that tiny little moment of unstructured time. You're in line for coffee, you're on an elevator, and you feel just a flicker of boredom. And what's the immediate, almost unconscious reflex? For pretty much all of us, we reach for our pocket. We pull out our phone, and we instantly fill that empty space with anything. Notifications, emails, social media, you name it. And right there, that's the loop. By instantly killing that moment of boredom, you shut down your default mode network. You stop it before it can even start asking those big, important questions. Every single time you reach for that phone to dodge that tiny bit of discomfort, you are robbing yourself of a chance to find deeper meaning. And the consequences of this are serious. This isn't just a bad habit. Brooks directly connects this constant cycle to the documented rise in anxiety, depression, and that sort of general sense of hollowness that so many people feel. We are literally starving our brains of the one process they need to build a meaningful life. Okay, so that's the problem. But here's the good news. There is a clear way out, and it's all about reframing boredom. Stop thinking of it as something to avoid and start thinking of it as a skill you can practice, like a muscle that you can build. So how do you actually do it? Well, here's a simple prescription to get started. Try a silent commute. Just drive, no radio, no podcasts. Go for a walk or to the gym, but leave your phone in the car. The whole goal is to intentionally create these little pockets of time where you're just in your own head. And Brooks really practices what he preaches. I love this rule from his own family. It is such a simple, powerful idea, right? Be present with the people who are actually there with you, instead of being mentally available to a whole world of people who aren't. Of course, I know what you're thinking. The number one excuse is always, but what if there's an emergency? Come on, let's be honest with ourselves. The news can wait. I promise you, checking Twitter is not an emergency. You can easily set your phone so only calls from 1 or 2 key people can get through. Don't let this made-up fear of missing out stop you from finding something way more important. So, what's the big payoff here? If you can actually do it, if you can push through that initial uncomfortable feeling and start practicing boredom, the rewards are, well, they're pretty incredible. Here's the wild paradox. The more you practice being bored, the less bored you'll actually be with your ordinary life. Your creativity will shoot up. You'll start having your best ideas. And most importantly, you'll finally start digging into those big questions, building a real sense of purpose. Yeah, you might just get happier. So look, we have basically engineered boredom completely out of our lives, and it's come at a huge cost. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to really think about. When was the last time you truly, honestly let yourself do absolutely nothing at all?